Yeah, a little bit of drizzle, a little bit of mist at the coast earlier this morning, and we're actually looking at plenty of fog and a significantly cooler forecast out there right now. 67 degrees, that's right here at the broadcast center in Studio City. Just remembering a few nights ago where we were calling it 80 degrees at this time of night. So major changes already taking place right now. You'll see just a few spots of maybe a few showers right there. Nothing major. Most of the thunderstorms really out of the forecast at this point. And temperature-wise at this point, we're quite mild. Again, 60s, that's right here at the broadcast center in Studio City. Downey, you're at 70, Valencia 69, Palmdale a little warmer at 80, and Riverside 75. So we're going to let you know if this cool weather is going to last through the weekend. That's just coming up in a little bit. So don't go away. Back to you.
All right. You know, our Dave Bryan is going to the Republican convention there. So the question is he going to be wearing his yellow slicker or his convention garb?
And hopefully his convention garb. And the chances of it going to Tampa, I mean, there is a chance, but it's not very high. Okay. So that's a good thing. But of course, we're going to continue to track it for you. I will tell you, it's been about 90 years since a hurricane actually made a direct hit in Tampa. Wow. So we're due for one, right? Oh, gosh, yeah. Don't want to say that. Hurricane Charlie came pretty close, about 100+ miles away. But again, we're eyeing Isaac right now. And we actually want to take you straight to Isaac, and we want to give you a look at the forecast storm. Back here on the west coast, though, we are looking at a very different forecast, a much calmer forecast as we move from Isaac over to the other side of the country, right here to California. You'll see right here just a little bit of moisture out there, not a whole lot. And we are looking at, well, a much drier and a much milder forecast as well. Temperatures out there into the 60s and 70s, actually a lot cooler. That fog is rolling in as we speak. Stayed pretty sucked in at the coast, probably doing it again as we head into tomorrow. 66 in Malibu, 70 in Downey, 69 in Valencia, and 79 in Palmdale right now. As we head over to the IE Riverside, you are currently at 74 degrees. Temperatures technically below average and staying below average as we continue on into the next few days. Low clouds and fog in the forecast. We saw them today. We're going to continue to see the clouds along the coast and starting to span into our inland valleys as well. By next week, that's when we're going to start to warm it up a little bit, and we could see more clearing. But at this point, again, that pattern persists. Low clouds and fog into the overnight hours and morning hours. Not a whole lot of clearing at the coast until maybe later in the afternoon. Didn't see a whole lot of it today. 79 earlier today in downtown. Average is 85 degrees. Record numbers 100. We didn't get anywhere close to that, and not hitting the triple digits, well, anywhere for the next few days. So completely different forecast. Finally, relief for a lot of us. For the valleys in the Inland Empire, 90s turning to upper 80s. We're going to show you what it looks like in the basin and, of course, at the coast. That's all coming up in a little bit, so don't go away. Rick and Sharon, back to you. And we're celebrating a cooler forecast. We're going to let you know how much longer it's going to last. That's coming up in just a little bit. Well, I will tell you, it's gotten cooler. We could potentially get a little cooler and eventually warming it back up again. But the question is, will it be as warm as it was? We're going to let you know coming up in a minute. We'll tell you how much cooler we're getting as well. As we take you outside to our Mount Wilson camera tonight, you're going to see low cloud cover out there. It's blanketing the coast, and it started working its way over the hills into the valley as well. And that could continue to be the case as we head into the overnight and morning hours. A look at radar, not much going on. It's much calmer than where we've been. No watches, warnings, advisories, thunderstorms. That's a lot. Well, that's pretty much what we've been dealing with the last couple of days. You'll see temperatures right now to the 60s and 70s predominantly. 75 in Riverside, Downey, 70, 79 in Palmdale. Malibu, you're at 66 degrees, and PV, you're currently at 66 as well. So temperatures are below average. They were below average today. They're going to continue to stay that way at least for the next couple of days. And well, we were so used to being above average, that's funny to even say below average. Something we haven't said in a little while. Low clouds and fog in the forecast, continuing to stay in the forecast over the next couple of days. Overnight and morning low clouds and fog, not only at the coast, but spanning into some of our inland valleys as well. We're warming it up as we head into next week, and we are expecting a little more sunshine as we get there as well. But for now, again, we're just dealing with the fog and the cooler temperatures. 79 degrees. That was the high earlier today in downtown. Average is 85. Record numbers 100 degrees. We didn't get anywhere close to that. We're not talking triple digits for quite a while. Over the next 24 hours, 60s, upper 60s, getting up to 80 in the afternoon. And yes, that's technically below average for this time of year. Santa Monica 73 tomorrow. Anaheim 82, Riverside 89, and Woodland Hills, you're making it to 90 degrees. But again, triple digits no longer the case. Let's get a look at that extended forecast for the basin in Orange County. You'll see 80s turning to 70s, upper 70s, back up to the low 80s and mid 80s by the time we head into next week. As we get a look at one more 5-day forecast for you, you're going to see a similar pattern where temperatures are going to get a little cooler and then they're going to pick up the pace a little bit. You'll see low 70s staying that way through Sunday, mid 70s by your Monday, and by your Tuesday, we're actually calling it a beach day. We're in the upper 70s there. And finally, getting a look at one more 5-day forecast for the valleys and the Inland Empire. You're going to see 90s, eventually turning to 80s, and then back up to the 90s. Rick and Sharon, back to you.
No, not
still a tropical storm, as you mentioned, but it could potentially strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane by the time Monday rolls around. It could make it to Florida by Sunday night. At this point, Isaac, again, still a tropical storm. Winds coming in at 45 miles an hour. You're going to see, well, it's starting to head toward the Dominican Republic right there. Not the Republican convention, but Republic. The direction is westward, and the speed is 18 miles an hour. So it is going relatively slow. Again, it's just a tropical storm right now with winds sustained at 45 miles an hour, but there is a chance it could strengthen again to a hurricane by Monday. So we're going to continue to track Isaac for you as we move through the next couple of days. Of course, we're tracking our local forecast as well. It's much calmer compared to where we've been the last few days. We've been seeing severe weather of our own. We've seen thunderstorms, very hot conditions out there, fire conditions as well, but now it's mild and that fog starting to roll right back in. You're going to see 66 in Malibu as a result, 66 in PV, Downey at 70, over to Riverside 73, Temecula 69 degrees. So temperatures are holding below average for now, keeping things that way at least for the next few days. Low clouds and fog still a factor at the coast and into our inland valleys as well. We're warming up as we head to next week. We've got a ways to go before we get there, but when we do, we'll show you exactly how much warmer it's going to get. We'll see a little more sunshine along with that. But for now, just enjoying the cooler temperatures, I hope. And again, we'll have more on that cool down. We'll show you exactly how cool it's going to get and how long it's going to last. That's all coming up in a little bit. Lena and Sylvia, back to you. Lots of sighs out there. Yes, a symphony of sighs because it's been so hot, and finally temperatures are really starting to cool down and we can feel it. We're actually seeing the fog roll in. That's something we haven't seen in a while. It's actually not only sitting at the coast, but it's spanning into some of our inland valleys as well. Came over the hills tonight. Some gorgeous shots of that as well. You'll see our weather headlines showing you below average temperatures. That's going to continue to be the case for now. Low clouds and fog into the overnight morning hours. We are warming up as we head into next week with a little more sunshine in store, but for now we're focusing on that marine layer, and again, it's not only sitting at the coast, but it's starting to span into some of our inland valleys, and it has been pretty stubborn. We didn't see a lot of clearing in some spots today. Same thing could go for tomorrow. 79 degrees, that was the forecast high in downtown earlier today, so we were significantly below average. Average is 85, so we were about 6 degrees below average. Over the next 24 hours, 60s, upper 60s, and by the afternoon, we're up to about 80 degrees, so technically, yes, that's still below average for this time of year. Santa Monica 73, Anaheim 82, Palmdale 93, Riverside 89, and Woodland Hills, you're getting up to pretty warm 90 degrees by tomorrow, but nothing compared to where we've been. Just a couple weeks ago, we were at numbers like 110 in Woodland Hills. You'll see right here on Futurecast, that's the fog that's rolling in into the morning and overnight hours there. By 6 a.m., pretty much everybody at the coast and in the basin expecting the fog. Looks like we could see some clearing by the 11 o'clock hour, but there could still be some stubborn fog that'll sit along the coast for the remainder of the day. For the basin in Orange County, 80s turning to 70s, and then we're back up into the 80s by the time we head into next week. We're going to show you what it looks like at the coast and into our inland spots. That's all coming up in a little bit, so don't go away. Lena and Sylvia, back to you. And we're no longer melting away in the heat. We're actually looking at a much cooler forecast. We'll have that forecast coming right up.
To have a few of those with us a few days ago,
and
right?
they would have
I was going to say they would have lasted very long.
Down our backs is where they would have gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would have felt so good.
It would have been nice. But right now, we probably wouldn't want one of those.
Yeah,
it's chilly enough. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
That sea breeze came back in. Yeah,
exactly.
Like it. It's nice. I think a lot of us do. So soon enough, everyone's going to say, well, let's warm it up a little bit. So we'll crank up the heat eventually. But right now, we are turning it down. We've got that sea breeze coming in. We've got that time of year, even though technically we've been a little below average. 69 in Downey right now. Over to Palmdale, a little warmer for the high desert at 78. Riverside 73, PV at 66, and Temecula, you're currently at 69. Below average temperatures continue to take hold of our forecast as we head into the next few days. Low clouds and fog into the overnight morning hours, not only at the coast, but we're actually looking at the low clouds in the basin, spanning into some of our inland valleys tonight as well. Warming up as we head into next week, and we are expecting a little more sunshine as we head there as well. Until then, though, we want to focus on tomorrow and the weekend. We are expecting a cooler than average forecast. That was the case today. We got up to 79. Average is 85, so we were 6 degrees below average, getting up to 80 tomorrow. So we're about 5 degrees below average as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Regardless, still a pretty pleasant forecast temperature-wise. 73 in Santa Monica, Riverside 89, Woodland Hills 90, and as we mentioned, downtown getting up to 80. So about a degree warmer than today, but technically still below average. For the valleys in the Inland Empire, 90s turning to 80s, back up to the 90s with more sunshine as we head into your work week. Until then, even the valleys in the Inland Empire still looking at fog in the forecast, along with the basin in Orange County. 80s turning to 70s, back up to the low 80s and mid 80s by the middle part of next week. Lena and Sylvia, back to you. And temperatures are finally starting to cool down. Will the cool down last through the weekend? We'll have the answers coming up. A little bit of mist actually earlier today all along the coast. That fog so thick that, yes, it did create a mist. And I was going to say that song is now officially stuck in my head for the next 24 hours. All right, let's carry on with the forecast. And as we do, we're taking you outside right now to our Mount Wilson camera. You're going to see that cloud cover. If you look really closely, that low cloud cover is starting to move in. And it's not only sitting at the coast, but it's moving into the basin and spanning into our inland valleys tonight as well. Temperatures out there, well, back to normal. Mild this time of night. We're in the 60s with a few 70s out there. 68 in Downey, 72 Riverside, and 77 in Palmdale. Right now it's a little warmer for the high desert. Below average temperature is still the drill over the next few days. We're also looking at low clouds and fog along the coast, but not just there, also in the basin and into our inland valleys as well. By next week, we're warming it back up again. We'll tell you exactly how warm, and we should be expecting a little more sunshine. But until then, again, fog is a factor, and cooler temperatures certainly a factor as well. 79 degrees, that was the forecast high today in downtown. We were technically about 6 degrees below average, and we're still keeping things below average as we head to the next 24 hours. 60s, more 60s, and by the afternoon, we're up to about 80 degrees. That's going to be for downtown. Santa Monica 73, Anaheim 82, Riverside 89, and Woodland Hills. You're getting up to warm, but not so hot, 90 degrees tomorrow. As we can look at futurecast, except for the overnight hours, there's that fog coming in over the Santa Monica Bay, spanning into some of our inland valleys, coastal valleys, and the basin as well, waking up to maybe even a little more drizzle, possibly along the Orange County coastline, similar to what we saw today. By 11 o'clock, looks like we will see some clearing, but does look like we still will have some stubborn fog along the coast right there closer to Malibu and parts of the Santa Monica Bay. Still potentially socked in, even though by 4:30 we are looking at more clearing in the forecast, according to Futurecast. For the valleys in the Inland Empire, 90s turning to 80s, back up to 90s with more sunshine by next week. As we get a look at the basin and Orange County, we're expecting 80s turning to 70s by the weekend and a little warmer by next week as well. And finally, taking you to the coast where temperatures are pretty much staying the 70s all week, but varying from the low 70s to the upper 70s by the time we hit Tuesday of next week. Until then, 70s as we head into the weekend. There we go with low cloud cover out there as well. Rick and Sharon, back to you.